this is part two to a long way what if that I have done for that I did do a couple months back, maybe even a year back, but I think it was pretty a couple months back. So basically, I made part one to what if Deku was on Black Air Force One's activity, and that what if was pretty successful, got a lot of views. So and a lot of people liked it. So I'm making a part two because I was already thinking about making a part two, but somebody today just commented make part two, and I'm recording it right now, and I already got a story laid out to do this what if. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing this what if, and also I am gonna be uploading what if Deku was. I also will be uploading what if the Predator was in the MCU part one actually. And I got that request on my Harry Potter what if Deku was in Harry Potter. Now, guys, haven't seen that? Please watch it. I'm begging you. So yeah, let's get into it, guys. So basically, we start our story off with Azuka Midoriya basically getting ready for school the next day of school. He wakes up about like 11 minutes late for class. He rushes out of his bedroom, gets his the most required hygiene you need to get done, and sprints out of the house with his shoes untied. Pretty much him just sprinting out of the house. He has the stuff. His clothes are a little bit messy because he just threw them on really quickly. Now basically he tightens them up as he runs, and he runs pretty fast. He runs as fast as he possibly can humanly. And basically, because I did state in part one that he can run nearly the same speed as Usain Bolt. So he starts sprinting and eventually gets to school. Now he gets in the class and he's about, at this point, 20 minutes late. So basically, he gets scored by, pretty much, Azawa. And Azawa whispers in Deku's ear saying, your first day of training is tomorrow night. But just to say free, since you got late to school, I'm gonna be double training you on your first day. Deku being super, kind of, well, angry at this, but just shrugs it off. Now, basically, he sits down, and Bakugo looks at Deku, and Deku looks at him and says, "What you looking at?" And basically, Bakugo says, "I'm looking at you, quirkless." Now, Deku gets up, about to straight up fold Bakugo, but he gets stopped when Azawa says to shut your mouth, shut your crusty, dusty cells down, so he can go on with class. So, Deku sits down, Bakugo sits down, and they give each other death stares before they look away from each other. Now, then a couple minutes later, Azawa, does class, blah blah blah. Class goes same, and so All Might steps into class and explains to the class they're doing quirk assessments. Now, basically, Deku is not even happy to see All Might because he hates All Might now because All Might laughed in his face and told him that he cannot be a hero, even though Deku went through all his training and he just wanted to hear the words from his number one hero that give him just an extra bit of motivation. But what he got was a smug little, just jerk of a person, a jerk of a man. So basically, Deku just looked away from All Might, not really being amazed at All Might at all, and as pretty much Zero behind Deku saying, "Why are you not why are you not excited to see All Might? All Might's gonna teach us and train us today." Basically, Deku saying All Might isn't a good guy. He's a jerk. Zero just thinks Deku's kind of weird and just shrugs it off. Now, we skip on, and everybody is told to get their hero costumes in the button and their suitcase. Now, Deku's hero costume is more or less made based off of combat and durability. A Deku's hero costume is mainly focused on durability and how good it can move in ninja terms. So basically, Deku's suit is made out of a very good technology that is shrunk enough to actually not even be noticeable. Now, actually, Deku's suit looks exactly like this, and basically, let's get into it. Basically, Deku's suit is based off his original mom's design, but he wanted to make it a better and more tactical since he wants to be more protected as he was doing his hero business. So basically, this suit, based off of durability wise, this suit's made of a titanium alloy, stronger than steel and titanium, but soft as normal clothing, or normal as about like 1/5 of the weight of a 1/5 of the weight of a bulletproof vest. Basically, the black parts are Kevlar, a very thin piece, a very thin, more evolved version of Kevlar that is as flexible as normal clothing and light as normal clothing, but are durable enough to basically catch bullets in their tracks, kind of like vibranium. But it still leaves a bruise underneath the suit. Also, as you're pretty much as the suit is pretty much, taking bullets. The green parts are made out of a titanium alloy that can basically stop bullets without any bruises underneath the titanium alloy. And they're also cut proof. Pretty much the whole suit is fireproof, cut proof, bulletproof, or pretty much the most damage the suit could take is probably like 50, plus ult. No, not like about like 13 plus ultras in a row against the suit. So that's how much the suit can take. So yeah, so basically the glove parts of the suit are made out of titanium Kevlar. And pretty much the black parts are Kevlar and the white parts are just very very flexible, fabric that's fireproof, not bulletproof or anything like that, not knife proof or anything. The inside of the gloves are Kevlar and knife proof, but yeah. So basically the rest of the suit is pretty designable. Now, the suit is mainly focused on durability and does do that, and Deku will barely get hurt in this suit unless somebody has incredible, a very strong core. But this suit is mainly just focused on not, saving Deku if he if he ever fell, because this suit takes a lot of fall damage as well. So this suit is mainly focused on a lot of durability. Now, for the whole entire, stealth part of it, the suit actually has a color mechanic that can change color. Now, basically, the suit can turn completely pitch black, like the white parts and all. The whole suit can turn pitch black, including the belt. Basically, if he presses this symbol right here about 3 times, the whole suit turns pitch black, the darkest shade of black, like the darkest black paint in the world. Like, someone like that, just the darkest shade of black possible. So Deku can blend in with his surroundings at nighttime incredibly well. Also, the suit can turn into a dark blue, because real ninjas wear dark blue to blend into the night sky. And also, Deku can pretty much tap his belt a numerous amount of times, changing into multiple different colors, like a gecko design. Deku can blend into his surroundings. Deku's already trained in a lot of stealth, but now with his suit is like super stealth. Like his, pretty much the suit doesn't enhance any, physical abilities of Deku. Just gives him more skills of stealth and also more durability. And also the suit does have also the pretty much belt is filled with gadgets like shurikens, compatible staves, also nunchucks. Pretty much a belt hook at the back of the belt is a hook for nunchucks, or a holster for nunchucks that he can fit his nunchucks in. And another thing he uses is a pretty much a what was it? A red steel, like a straight up a red pure like steel nunchucks, and the bottom of the nunchucks are made out of a titanium alloy like the rest of the green parts of the suit. So yeah, they're pretty, they hurt a lot if Deku hits you with them. Deku also has pretty much multiple ninja knives and throwing knives in one of his pouches, like right here. And Deku also has a up display right here. Now the mask does help Deku and give Deku extra oxygen. So Deku's suit in some areas is air dry. So Deku can touch this button is hidden like a screw. So if he touches this button, this piece of the neck brace goes up and seals the suit tight, so Deku can go underwater like pretty much serene, and pretty much the suit can withstand a lot of pressure underwater. And also the suit can go underwater, and the suit has its own oxygen supply. So as much air Deku breathes in real life, the suit automatically takes an oxygen in case Deku is ever submerged in water, and the suit automatically goes into underwater mode. And it gives Deku about 20 minutes of oxygen. And, or like if Deku stays up water, or up, out of water in the suit longer than 20 minutes, and you can get like about like 50 minutes of oxygen, so like that. Deku's suit also has a comms display, and the suit also has. And that's basically it. That's the only thing Deku's suit has. So it has a utility belt that can hold a lot of weapons, and also has compacted katanas. Like yeah. Deku did put the hero interest into making compacted katanas, and they actually made it. Basically, kind of like the um compressed staff, basically like that, but with the handle just being the handle. But when he presses a button on one of the sides of the guard, the guard of the sword pops out of the katana handles, kind of like a lightsaber. So they're pretty good, and Deku pretty much is pretty, stealthy. And pretty much Utility Belt has basically everything. It's like Batman with his ridiculous amount of gadgets in that little utility belt is basically like that. So Deku is pretty, kind of like just Japanese Batman. So basically, Deku starts, and Deku's helmet or mask is kind of like the Nanotech Iron Man mask. It can fold up into the collar piece of the suit. So Deku starts off with not his mask, just him. So they start off, and everybody compliments Deku on his hair costume. Well, mainly Ochaku does, and Ochaku says your hair costume is so cool. Deku saying, yeah, I don't know, and pretty much as that all night, explaining to the class about quirk assessments. I mean the quirk training, and how this is gonna work. They're given a certain amount of pretty much time to take down their opponent and to win and to take down the villains. Now basically Deku gets ready, and basically the rest of the class, gets ready and teamed up. Deku gets teamed up with Chaku. Now Chaku whispers to Deku's ear saying, "Did you think about it yet? Are you, do you want to date me?" Pretty much Deku saying, "I'm thinking about it. And plus we already set up a date for, tonight." So basically Deku gets into a fight and says, "Well, enough for the whole entire small talk. You go over to Ida and I take down Bakugo." And as pretty much Chaku says, "What's the point? We should go after them separately." And pretty much Deku says no. He will Ida will more or less expecting me because I'm more the heavy hitter, and I'll probably think I'm gonna go for the bomb first. So you should go up and try to catch him off guard and try to get the bomb if you can. But just keep him stalled when I take down the big heavy hitter, Bakugo, come back up, and then, help you up. So basically, Ochaku says okay, and pretty much spins up the spares, going over to the bomb room where Ida is. Deku runs down the hallways, and eventually comes across Bakugo, but he pretty much goes chameleon mode and blends in with the concrete walls. And basically, Bakugo's looking around, saying, "I know you're here, Bakugo. I heard your footsteps. I know you're here, Deku. I heard your footsteps." Pretty much, Deku takes out a shuriken and throws it straight towards Bakugo. Bakugo blows it away with his face and says, "I found you," throwing an explosion right where Deku is. Deku snaps out of his chameleon mode and jumps out of the way, pretty much throwing more throwing knives and shurikens, cutting Bakugo in the face and the leg, but Bakugo mainly dodging most of them. Bakugo throws more explosions and barely touches Deku on the shoulder. Deku grabs Bakugo by the throat and pretty much says, "I'm about to fold you like an omelet, boy," and pretty much drop kicks him right then and there. And basically, Bakugo falls out of the ground, coughing up blood, saying, "You kicked me so freaking hard." Him pretty much spitting. And I mean, like, he was, like, drooling. Bakugo is literally drooling on the ground in pain. Deku's about to put, tape or pretty much just knock out Bakugo to win. But Bakugo throws a huge explosion towards Deku's, well, not really hurting anything, but just, pretty much, going for a cheap shot towards Deku's, jewels. And basically Deku falls to the ground, saying, "Are you serious?" Pretty much Bakugo getting up and saying, "We gotta fight dirty to win." Pretty much him pulling the pin on his gauntlet and pretty much facing it straight towards Deku 6 feet away. Now basically Deku dodges out of the way, but gets hit in the call of the explosion where his foot does, and he gets blown through a wall. Now pretty much Deku goes chameleon mode and blends in with the rubble and basically hides under a piece of rubble or a thin piece of rubble that he can get off of really easily. And pretty much Bakugo looks around and says, "I know you're here, Deku. You could have not gone anywhere else." Basically, Bakugo takes out more explosions, just throwing explosions randomly, and eventually looks at the concrete, seeing a hand underneath some concrete. or Gray Hand. So basically, he throws the explosion or he throws his another gauntlet or pulls his other pin gauntlet another time underneath the rebel and blows Deku underneath of it and pretty much sends him through two individual walls, like two rows of walls. Deku gets blown through. Now Deku gets back up, coughing blood and picking on his helmet, saying, "You've done it now." Deku fading on to the pretty much mist or dust that's been you know given off by the explosions and also the dust that's been flowing around since the walls were crashed through. Bakugo says, "Show yourself," and out of nowhere, shurikens start going everywhere, and three of them lost themselves in Bakugo's left leg on his thigh, or the outer part of his thigh. Pretty much, they're just stuck in there. Like, pretty much, Bakugo yells out in pain and just starts ripping them out of his legs, saying, "You've done it now," throwing more explosions left and right as hard as he possibly can, him slightly putting more and more pressure on his bones. Now, Deku uses this against Bakugo, trying to make Bakugo go overboard and actually hurt himself with his quirk. Bakugo does see that Deku's trying to, tire him out, and Bakugo sprints off, trying to get to the bottom room to get, more safety in numbers. But pretty much Bakugo being overwhelmed by his pride, stopping halfway up the stairs and saying, "You want to go now? Go then, you little," and pretty much out of nowhere, and I mean out of nowhere, like as soon as Bakugo's about to finish his sentence, it's just black for him. It's just, he's knocked out cold. What exactly happened is Deku was following Bakugo up the stairs in his chameleon form, or his chameleon mode on his suit, and basically eventually, took out, what was it? His baton, or his, steel titanium alloy nunchuck, and should have just jumped from one of the balconies, because Deku like went right upstairs, because he was always in front of Bakugo. Him jumping on top of Bakugo before he, jumped on top of Bakugo, he knocked the daylights out of Bakugo's skull with his titanium nunchucks, knocking him out cold. Bakugo falling down the stairs and getting knocked out cold, his arm being broken but not really permanently broken, being able to be fixed by Recovery Girl. So Deku picks his baton or his nunchucks back into the holsters to say, "That was easier than I thought." Him sprinting up the stairs and getting towards Ida's, getting towards Ida. Now Ida's fighting Ochaku the same way that they did originally, and Deku throws a shuriken right at Ida's engines, Ida tripping, and basically Deku running towards the bomb, grabbing it, and winning. So basically, the team pretty much, well, heroes win, villains lose. Bakugo is super angry, saying, "I lost to a quirkiest person," and basically Deku says, "Don't be, mad about it. You lost before, and the only difference was it was on, video." Basically, Bakugo takes out an explosion trying to, blow up Deku one more time, but getting knocked out again by Deku with a punch up against the nose. Pretty much, Bakugo, at that point, when he was trying to throw an explosion, he was like halfway conscious, so it was pretty easy to knock him out. So Deku, put his helmet back into his color piece, or just, uncloaked his helmet and turned off his helmet or something like that, and basically, walked off being crowned the MVP. A lot of girls were actually really impressed that Deku took out Bakugo, one of the few kids in the class that could actually, go toe to toe with a pretty good quirk user. Basically, Deku won. Easy. Easy, just won easily. And Deku pretty much walked off, and them going back home. And basically, before they went home, Deku actually told his mom that he was gonna do some errands. And basically, Deku, got into some regular street clothes. So basically, Deku was on a date with Ochaku. Now, basically, Deku was just told his mom that he was gonna do some errands, and Ochaku's mom just straight up told Ochaku that she was gonna go on a date. Basically, they went on a date, and basically, they went to a coffee place or a tea place, and basically, had some fun. Not really, not fun, bro. You nasty little boys. Basically, Deku and Chaku have, a okay date. A pretty good date, actually. And Deku, you know, has a pretty good time. And basically, they go on and they, go on a little bit of jogging. And they eventually, they go on a little bit of a jogging for train or whatever for UA. And eventually, Ochaku trips and Deku picks her up, basically them looking in each other's eyes. And basically, in that moment, them, well, kissing. So basically, Ochaku says, "You want to go to my place?" And basically, Deku says, sure. And as you guys always know, in anime, or in, shipped anime, or in some anime, if a girl asks you over, after they have a kiss, immediately they go over to her house. Something's going down. So basically, Deku and Ochaku do the Devil's Tango, and basically, that's it. So basically, Deku and Ochaku are, in a relationship now. Basically, originally I was gonna do like a debate in the comments, but I already did a debate in the comments, like, in part two. So I know in part one. So basically, what's gonna be happening is Deku is not gonna be dating Ochaku, since I already, did the Devil's Tango. So basically, Deku and Ochaku, train, have dates then and there after school. And basically, they haven't made it official in school yet, but pretty much the next day at school, Deku walks Ochaku to school, or Deku picks up Ochaku from home, and pretty much Deku picks up Ochaku and they walk home. I mean, no one walk home. Deku, it goes back home, and basically, next day, Deku walks Ochaku to school with him. Basically, they go into school, they get into class, and basically, the class sees Ochaku and, Deku pretty much, what was it, holding hands, walking into the class, and basically, they're confused, but Deku, says, hey guys, pretty much sitting down, and pretty much Ochaku and Deku separating and sitting down in their normal seats. Azal being confused, but just shrugging it off. Now, basically, Azal says to the class that they're going to the USJ. They go to the USJ on the train. Pretty much Deku and Ochaku are flirting at each other and pretty much talking to each other, and pretty much have a good time. Pretty much just talking to each other. And basically, the rest of the class is kind of confused. And pretty much out of nowhere, Mineta comes up and saying, some of the guys from there know, are you dating Ochaku, Deku? And basically, when I mean Deku, I mean Izuku, because the only person that calls Deku is Bakugo. Now, basically, Deku says, yeah, I am. Basically, pretty much Mineta is saying, you only been here for 2 days, Deku, when you already got a girlfriend? Man, I can't get anybody. And pretty much, Deku says, if you want to get somebody, stop being a pervert. Now, basically, Bakugo, being kind of angry by this, and actually Bakugo actually liking Ochaku, but seeing that Deku already took her. So basically, Deku, goes back to talking with Ochaku. It basically, goes on and they get to the USJ. And basically, as they're on the train, no, the the bus before they get to USJ, they still talk about their quirks and everything, and pretty much none of them ask about Deku's, cause he's quirkless, and basically they go on and they go to the USJ. Now they're on their hero costumes. They're in their hero costumes and they pretty much get started. So basically, they get started and Deku gets ready for the training or whatever. He gets into the pretty much he gets into the area and basically gets started. So pretty much everybody is interrupted when the legal villains show up and they start attacking everybody. Now Deku still gets sent to the water area with Froppy and Mineta. Deku falling down to the ground. Now Deku takes out one of his grappling hooks, one of his ninja grappling ropes or whatever, and throws him towards a nearby window with, as much strength as he possibly can muster up, pretty much making the rope go around it. Some of a type of pole on the side of a building, him swinging towards the shore, getting scratched in the leg a few times by some of the villains in the water, and him getting to the shore. So basically, Deku gets to the shore and looks around behind him, seeing that, the rest of the class, or Vendetta and Froppy, are on the boat. Now, basically, he makes up a plan, and basically, he takes out, he tries to look around, and he takes out some villains that are trying to stop him. Him taking them out pretty quickly, just, doing chameleon mode and knocking the daylights out of them. Now, Deku starts running around and eventually comes across pretty much, Pretty much comes across Bakugo fighting some villains. Now, Deku throws a shuriken right on one of the villains. The villains look around, Bakugo throwing an explosion into the villain's face, and Deku looking around and seeing that a villain has spotted him, a villain that can see through camouflage for some reason. So Deku drops on top of the villain and starts just pummeling him. And I mean, like, he straight up goes Gotham Knight or Arkham Knight Batman on his little behind, bro. He literally folds him so hard that you hear bones cracking each punch Deku throws. Like, it's that bad. And Deku just goes full on Batman and starts just assassinating fools. Not assassinating them, but straight up just folding them. I don't understand how Batman doesn't kill anybody. Like, he be straight up putting these men underwater and pretty much hanging them on their feet. He be straight up folding them. He be straight up breaking their necks. And I'm pretty sure Spider-Man on PS5 has killed somebody before. Like, he literally has killed somebody before. Like, Spider-Man has thrown people off roofs, thrown them up against concrete walls, and webbed them up against them for like hours on end. He's also punched people so hard into pillars of steel that fall on top of them. Like, how is Spider-Man not killing anybody in PS5 or PS4 Spider-Man? And Arkham Knight Batman's no different. He be straight up killing. Like, he be straight up just owning people. Like, I really don't understand. Like, he be running up to people and just socking them in their jaw. Like, so hard. Be tasting them in their jugular. Like, dude, it's just so weird, bro. It's so weird that none of these villains have filed lawsuits against these heroes. Like, they be breaking their necks. Jeffrey pretty much be in court being saying, Spider-Man broke my boy's neck. He has kids. He's paralyzed with a neck down now. Basically, Spider-Man saying he was a bad guy. And, Daredevil, being a lawyer, goes like, you paralyzed him for stealing candy from a grocery store. What the? Pretty much. It's like that. Like, I honestly don't know why heroes be beating the absolute doo-doo water out of villains. But Deku was on that. And basically, he just starts folding fools. Most of them, he does actually paralyze them. He actually does. One of the villains are on the ground and they're crawling away because they were, completely like folded by Deku. Deku grabs their left leg and kicks through their knee and makes the bone go out. Now, Deku was on sicko mode right now. Black Air Force One's activity. And just starts stomping fools out. And I mean just stopping them. Stomping them out. Just stopping them. Just flat laying them out. Just laying them out like no nothing, no mercy, no nothing. Just laying fools out. So basically, Deku eventually comes across, a boat near the training area and comes back to the docks and swims and pretty much makes a boat type of thing over the docks. Now, pretty much, he makes a destruction because he puts a bomb or some sort of, grenade that Bakugo dropped during the fight and pretty much puts it in the boat, kicking the boat off and putting a pack of pretty much stuff or whatever to make it look like a silhouette from the water, from the bottom of the water. Basically, pretty much the villains, rip the boat apart, see that a grenade falls into the water and blows up, some of them knocking them out and burning some of their faces and knocking them out. Now, basically, Deku swims into the water, seeing the rest of the villains are, disorientating, him getting to the boat, grabbing Mineta, and Frappy saying, I have a plan, him throwing a taser grenade. I know a taser thing or something like that, pretty much Deku having a lot of gadgets, tasing the water, and pretty much electrocuting the villains. Seeing the villains float up to the surface. Now, they basically get a life raft and pretty much float towards the other end of the pretty much water area, and they come across pretty much All Might fighting the Nomu. All Might's fighting the Nomu going left and right, and Deku has no interest in helping All Might. Pretty much him actually sprinting and leaving Moneta and Froppy there, him looking for a Chaku and trying to save his girlfriend. Now basically he's looking for a Chaku, but he gets stopped by the Shinso, or pretty much the quirk guy, or what was it? I think it was his name was, I don't know, Hirakashi. No, that's not it. But yeah, basically he asks where you think you're going, and Deku says, "Well, not to your mama's house. Already been there." Pretty much him getting angry, saying, "What did you say? What did you say?" Deku throwing a light bomb or a smoke bomb, him sprinting out of the way. Now Deku is trying to look for pretty much his girlfriend, but him gets stopped by pretty much what was it Shigashi or Shigaraki. Now Shigaraki tells Deku, "Stop right there. You're not leaving unless we get All Might dead." Now basically, Deku says, "Well, you can kill All Might. I don't really care. I just want to get my girlfriend." Basically, as Shigaraki says, "Get out my way, boy, or we're gonna have a little problem. Go back with your friends, and I won't kill you. I might hurt you, but I won't take your life." Basically, Deku's saying, "You can try." Him putting on his helmet, or him, turning on his helmet mode, and him sprinting towards Shigaraki. Shigaraki tries to decay Deku, but Deku dodges out the way, taking out his shurikens and stabbing them in the back of Shigaraki. Shigaraki grabs the shurikens with his two fingers, poking them out and trying to grab Deku, and actually succeeding grabbing Deku's pretty much shoulder right here, and pretty much it starts to decay with a handprint on it, but Deku pretty much smacks Kirishima Shigaraki's hand off of him like a pimp. I'm like a pimp slap, and basically says, "Get your hands off me," and pretty much starts sprinting around trying to get a clear shot towards Shigaraki. Shigaraki lets himself go and actually opens up an area or opportunity for Deku, and basically Deku grabs Shigaraki from the throat and says, "Nighty night," and pretty much, and I mean like straight up Mortal Kombat, like straight up Johnny Cage kick Shigaraki right in his testes. I mean just kick, like straight up, his leg just goes straight up. Like it wasn't no motion to that. His leg just goes straight up with all his force, and pretty much he doesn't like permanently damage or like doesn't do anything permanently. Like no, Shigaraki can still have kids and all that stuff, but it hurts so bad. Shigaraki actually faints. He actually passes out. Now basically Shigaraki passes out, and pretty much with Shadow guy sees this, and also he sees that the other heroes have shown up. So basically he retreats and he grabs Shigaraki, saying, "We gotta go." He teleports out of there, and basically the rest of the heroes show up. The villains are captured, and pretty much Deku runs over to All Might, seeing All Might on the ground after as Deku was fighting Shigaraki. All Might was already defeating the pretty much Nomu, already defeated the Nomu. Basically, All Might looked up to Deku, and Deku saying, "You're pathetic." Him walking off, seeing that All Might is all bloody and bruisey. Now, basically, Deku walking off, seeing that his suit, or his shoulder of his suit is kind of decayed, and Deku saying, "I gotta fix this." Now, I'm gonna be skipping off there, and after that, the kids have a couple of days off. Deku goes on a few dates and pretty much has some fun with Ochaku. Pretty much him going to amusement parks, arcades, and all sorts of other stuff over the few days that he's off. Also, him training for about 2 days because he doesn't want to spend all his time with Ochaku. Like that's not guys don't want that. So basically, Deku does train fuel and also does work in his suit, trying to get the titanium alloy to try to pop out or to try to fix the decaying. Now I didn't go all the way through Deku's shoulder. It was just like a handprint of like black on his titanium. So he just painted over it with card paint, and basically filled it in with pretty much just steel. and forged it together, making it look brand new. Just the other shoulder pad like this, just being made out of steel, not a titanium alloy. Now, basically, after that entire fiasco with the USJ, Deku goes back to pretty much school the next day, and basically everybody's talking about the sports festival. Now, Deku is walking down, the halls of the school. Deku's walking down the halls of the school, and eventually sees basically, Bakugo. Bakugo runs up to Deku and says, "So you grabbed all the spotlight, and you just, saved the day, didn't you?" Him basically pushing Deku on the shoulder, saying, "Let's see how strong you really are." Deku saying, "Okay, now we fought a lot of times, and I know you are so determined into I'm better than you. I'm so good. I have a quirk, blah, blah, blah." No one cares, Deku. I mean, no one cares, Bakugo. No one cares, Bakugo, because no one cares about you. You're a jerk. Self-centered, cocky little smug boy that thinks he's better than everybody else. You're a jerk, and you should have never been made. I'm pretty sure your mom doesn't even love you. Bakugo gets angry about this and says, well, Deku, and pretty much Deku stops him right there and saying, "I'm not going to fight you anymore because you're too much of a little wimp and you're not my time. I don't need your validation. I don't need to know that I can beat you because I already do know. And I'm always going to win, Bakugo, because you let your anger, your cockiness, your smugness, and just your overall stupidity get the best of you, and you always lose against me. It's not a matter of how strong you are. It's a matter of how dumb you are. You are the most cocky, selfish jerk I've ever met, Bakugo. And that's saying something, since I already met your dad." Pretty much Bakugo says, "What do you mean, my dad?" Now, Deku saying, it doesn't really mean anything. Plus, just saying, your mom doesn't love you because she loves me. Because I, one day I went over to her house. Bakugo's angry by this and throws an explosion towards Deku. And Deku dodges it, grabbing Bakugo by the throat and pretty much saying, "If you ever try to fight me, I will kill you." And that's a promise. And basically Bakugo falling onto the ground, being very shocked at how Deku, was so serious. Because they fought multiple times, but Deku was never turned down a fight and has never really threatened to actually take Bakugo's life. Now Bakugo sees Deku walk off, and Deku is actually sawn by a couple other students, and rumors start spreading around the school as UA starting as everybody's talking about the USJ. Everybody's talking about the USJ, but also talking about the sports festival. Pretty much saying that Deku has went overboard. Deku has told Bakugo if he ever fought him again, he would kill him. So basically, Bakugo actually did take that seriously and actually might not fight Deku anymore. But should me and Bakugo get dumb again? Because if you guys are major Bakugo fans or ship Bakugo with Deku, like what the freak, bro? Like even if Deku was gay and he's not, I'm pretty sure Deku wouldn't want Bakugo, because Bakugo, no one likes him unless you're a cocky, self-centered jerk. You shouldn't like Deku. You shouldn't like Bakugo. You shouldn't like Bakugo. Because Bakugo's angry. He's always freaking angry. Like, it's no point. Why is he so angry all the time? Because he got a small wee-wee? It looks like micromanagement to me. It looks like Bakugo got micromanagement for me. So, I feel like Bakugo doesn't even have a good quirk either. Just making explosions. Like, bro, anybody can make explosions with the right tech or the right stuff. So, I don't understand. Basically, in my opinion, Bakugo's the worst My Hero character. Honestly, Minetta's better than Just King, but I feel like Minetta, he's got a better personality than Bakugo. Bakugo's always angry. Like, take a chill pill. Get this man a melatonin. Is he down on sleep? Like, bro, I don't understand. Why is he so angry, bro? So angry. Why did he get angry by Deku just holding out a hand? Because I think in the beginning in canon, Bakugo just hated Deku because he gave he tried to give Bakugo help, even though he was quirkless, but he tried to give him help, and as a kind person. Now, honestly, if that was me, I would have been not been Bakugo's friend. I was been stopped following him. I would have been called, you know, the school on him, cause like he's a bully, and he abuses his power. Like that's some white privilege right there. But basically, that's talking, guys, and I'm gonna leave it up here, guys. So in part 3, I'm gonna be uploading what if Deku was in I'm gonna be in part 3 of this. I will be doing more comedy type thing, and basically for basically this what if this is gonna be the end. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys like and subscribe, and so you guys have a blessed day, and wait and stay tuned for what if the Predator was in MCU, and also what if Deku was in Jurassic Park, and also what if Deku was in Fear Street. I'm also making that. So yeah, what if Deku was in Fear Street. Also, I'm not gonna be uploading anything on Saturday, Sunday, Friday, or Monday, because I'm gonna be having more of a family thing because it's summer, and I'm also gonna have my sister come over. My sister has been like in Virginia for like years, so yeah, we're also gonna see Suicide Squad. I'm also gonna be doing a Suicide Squad what if the villains from the characters from My Hero Academia were in the Suicide Squad movie, or have their own version of Suicide Squad in the My Hero universe. So yeah, so see you guys later. Mine as always, guys. Have a blessed day.